We have lots of time, Jim.
Well, you did say 8 minutes each last week, right?
You got it.
Yeah, okay.
You got it.
There's 6 of us.
Perfect.
So this time 3 weeks ago, we were worshiping with Iglesia Bautista Emmanuel in ElSalvador. That was my first view as we broke through the clouds. It kind of looked like we were going into the land of Mordor in Lord of the Rings. And there has been quite a dark history in El Salvador of violence, oppression of the indigenous folks, oppression of the poor farm workers, civil war, and recent gang violence. But based on some advice we got from groups that had been down in the last few years, we felt it was safe and time, because we hadn't been there for a few years as a partner, to be present with them. Turn it on, right? Yeah. Well, these days there is some brightness both in the art and in the people we met down there. We arrived and were met by new and old friends and settled in. There were 36 of us from 14 congregations from the Central Ontario region and from the Eastern Ontario Outaouais region of the United Church of Canada. And Miguel Tomas, the pastor down there, had a full program for us. So we have 5 of the young people who went, and they're going to go through the high points for them.
Hola. My name is Dorcas, and I'm going to share with you the experiences that...
Don't worry, I just want to pull this.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. The experiences that we had in El Salvador. I'll start with Santo Gabriel. It is the place where we were staying, and it was named after Pastor Miguel Tomas' brother, who was killed during the Civil War in the 1980s. The place was very safe, though you could hear dogs barking, roosters crowing, and turkeys globally early in the morning and at night. This reminded me what it was like back home. It was just like that every day. Most part of the region was very mountainous. The climb up the hill to Central Gabriel was the risky part of the journey. Though we had very good drivers, we traveled safe. We had a taste of Salvadorian food, which was very appetizing: rice and beans, pupusas, and tortillas. Rev. Jean Stairs continued a tradition that apparently Bill Smith started for their trips of introducing the breakfast. We ate, worshipped, and met either in the dining room or in the meeting room, which has a stage for entertainment. Most of us slept in rooms holding 10 beds. We set up mosquito nettings to keep the bugs away, though I did not see any bug or bitten by a mosquito. Here is a picture of our group from the Eastern Ontario and Ottawa region. I'll talk about Kalpapil. It's a youth center where the youth meet and learn to express themselves through art. And Victor Hernandez is the current manager. I understand that he was one of the 2 young men who visited Emmanuel United Church at August 2017. The youth house offers a lot of programs and help the youth express themselves, such as music training, artwork, guitar lesson, and drama lesson. The youth house offers a safe space and a welcoming environment for the youth after school, since some of them are victims of domestic violence. The center also print t-shirts as a way to raise funds and to support some of their programs. Gracias.
Buenos dias. Good morning. My name is Coco, and I was also one of the 36 that went to El Salvador this March break. Friday, March 8 was the first full day at Centro Gabriel in San Salvador, El Salvador. It was called Romero Day. After breakfast, we went to the memorial house where Monsignor Romero lived. And we were celebrating the legacy of Romero, and the symbols of the country was outside the gate. Inside, two beautiful paintings of Romero decorated the sides of the house. His heart is literally buried under a Virgin Mary statue, and his car is still there. Monsignor Romero lived a simple life. He didn't own many things, he just had enough for everything. The clothes that he wore when he was assassinated were on a display closet, as well as his journals and his belongings. He lived in this bungalow because it was near the Divine Provincial cancer patients whom he wanted to help. Beside this hospital is the church where he was shot from the street while saying Mass on March 24th, 1980. There is an outline of where he fell on the floor marked by floor tires. Later the same day, we visited the Martyrs Wall in a park under construction. Over 30,000 names are inscribed on the wall, grouped by year under different categories like homicides and those that disappeared. We also went to the Roman Cathedral Center, where the body of Monsignor Romero now lies. The four corners of the coffin symbolize the four gospel books, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. A shepherd's rod and sheaves of wheat are also engraved on the coffin. A red ball on his heart represents his heart for the people. A school class had a worship around the coffin before we had one of our own around it as well. I wrote a simple rhythmic poem about what Oscar Romero means to me. I know a guy who worked for a better tomorrow, who comforted his people and wiped away the sorrow, who spoke up to the injustice like a superhero, who persevered through the straight and narrow, who helped his people in the rotten barrow, who made a change without a bow and arrow, who wanted no rewards, absolutely zero. I know a guy, Monsignor Oscar Romero. Gracias.
Hello, I'm Javier, and I'll be speaking about the build days. So on the third and fourth day of the trip, we went to a town called Las Cruces, where we participated in a build of a chapel that was torn down in a storm a year back. It was interesting to watch the slow progress because the people there didn't have the right tools. We were using shovels, pickaxes, and doing everything by hand. The people in this area of El Salvador don't have access to power tools the way we do in Canada. There are no Home Depots around the corner, and even if there were, the electricity is limited. I think of how fast construction companies build homes in my community here in Ottawa. I can't imagine how long it would take to do all of it by hand with a small team of people. Some of us worked on the construction project, while other parts of our team stayed back and ran a 3-hour version of Camp Awesome with the kids of the community. The bus ride in the countryside was fun because time passed quickly because we listened to some good music. It was very hot, around 36 degrees. Good thing we brought a lot of water there. What I really took away from the building experience is that Emmanuel Baptist Church could benefit in receiving money for power tools and proper building equipment. They could use it to help grow other communities like Las Cruces that we went to. They could have a library system like the one in Toronto called Toronto Tool Library, where they loan tools to people just like libraries loan books. I think this experience is overall great because I really felt like I helped and made a difference. And I really hope that one day I get to see how they finish the chapel.
Hi, I'm Sifa, and I'll be talking about my experience at this school. I was among the 36 people who participated in the Salvador pilgrimage. While most of our group went to Usenas for a building and to run a vacation Bible school, the rest of us stayed in San Salvador and went to CBay, Colegio Baptist Emmanuel. We painted a train picture for the kindergarten students and also got a chance to participate in the Women's Day celebration organized by the Peacemakers. Peacemakers are students chosen by their teachers to stop conflicts among students. They can be from any grade. The Women's Day show had girls from grade 5 to 12. Each leader from the Peacemaker gave a speech to what they thought Women's Day was about. They encouraged the young ladies to work hard, stay positive, and seek God, and many others. At the end of the show, they had a dance competition, which I participated in and won a prize. What amazed me was students are graded according to their performance. Now here, we are graded according to our age. My second day at eBay, we went with a student from grade 7 to 10 to a theater to watch a play. It was fully in Spanish. I laughed when everybody was laughing. We also got a chance to go to the English class, read some books in English, played games, and on the last day, we split up in groups. One group spent time in classroom with students. The second group played basketball, other games, and the center courtyard, and generally got to know each other. A third group continued the artwork started early in the week. The fourth group visited the senior class and talked about what school meant to them and what they're planning for the future. The second group presented 12 computers to the school. 3 more were given to Iglesia Baptista to Pastor Miguel Thomas and other staff members. Some money left was to be used to improve the science lab and other programs at school and to the Copperplease Youth Center. The kindergarten class presented a hat full of handmade greeting cards to our group. We sorted out the humanitarian bags at the end of one of the days. In the end, there were 7 suitcases filled with school and health supplies. CBay. CBay is doing a good job at raising young, independent students with Christian values. Through after-school programs, they teach them how to deal with different situations and to build strong relationships with each other. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Nima, and I also went to El Salvador with the rest of the people. And we visited the University of Central America, which was very beautiful. And we got to learn about the assassination of 6 Jesuit martyrs of El Salvador. The assassination happened in November 16, 1989, in the morning. Government soldiers just stormed into their residence at the Central America University and dragged them out of their dormitory to kill them in the garden, and the housekeeper and her daughter were killed too. They were killed because of the way they lived, their religious faith, and expressing love to other people. They did this matters, most of them were professors, and they did their best to scale tuition charges according to a family's income. And they found countless ways to unmask the lies that justified the pervasive injustice and the continuing violence and they made constructive proposals for a just and more humane social order. The university fenced the garden where they were killed and planted roses for each person who was killed. Also, there was the museum that had their personal things, the clothes they were wearing when they were killed, and everything. And there was a cross that was donated by eBay, having the faces of all those who were killed on it. We also visited the chapel in the university. The chapel had symbols that represented Romero in life and Romero after death. And also there were pictures at the back of the chapel that represented the stations of the cross. But the pictures actually showed how people were tortured in El Salvador during the war, the Civil War. Well, all this made me so upset. I was not expecting they were killed because they were doing good things, and they were killed because of what they believed in, and no justice was served for their killing. So this made me generally so upset about this situation. But I hope we all go out there and do things better than what happened to them. Thank you.
So it was a short visit. It was over before it started almost. That's the way it felt. But we spent a lot of time doing a lot of different things. Some people struggled with the concept of helping people without actually building something or that sort of thing. But everywhere we went, there was someone who was appointed to speak to us and thank us. And every person, the fact that we were there visiting them was important to them, witnessing their lives and the struggles they have. So that was a reasonably short summary of what we did. And if you watch for the news, I think in late May, I think it's the 26th, it's a Sunday night, there will be an Emmanuel Cafe, and we'll spend a little more time, and you will have a chance to ask questions. So another thing that goes along with these visits is exchanging of presents and that sort of thing. And we have a couple of items we would like to pass to Steve, representing Emmanuel United Church. We were given a cross as part of the church service. All 14 churches received a cross. And there was another church presented the last night we were there. Not sure why, but...
That's good. Okay, and what beautiful, beautiful cross. Huh? You see this? So we're to place these on the wall somewhere, I gather. Presented to Emmanuel United Church by Dizia Bautista Emmanuel, March 13, 2019. Isn't that gorgeous? I love, if you walk down toward the library and see some of the paintings, the colors are just alive, are they not? Wonderful. Thank you so much. And so we want to hold this in? Great, thanks. And here's another one. And it says the same thing. Okay.
Different date.
And so is this the mountain that we saw? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
There are
That's it.
many mountains.
There are many volcanoes in El Salvador.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Wait a minute. Did it work? You sure? Okay, good. Thank you so much. Yeah, you want to leave that with me, right?
The colorful... One of the other visits we didn't talk about because it was a visit to an art gallery, but a lot of the colorful kind of folk art that you see down there was inspired by an artist named Fernando Yort. Okay. So one of the afternoons was a visit to see his work.